Today we're taking this prop, paint him up, and bring him to life.
It's alive!
So in order to paint this creature, we cannot just paint him with any old paint, or else that paint is just gonna chip off, rub off, or crack off, basically. So what we need is a special mixture. Right here, the special sauce. So all this is 1/3 water, 1/3 indoor house paint, not outdoor, because that has a lot of gross additives and stuff. You want the indoor stuff. And 1/3 mask making latex. And if you want a specific base color, like I'm going to with this guy, I picked orange like this. You just mix some acrylic paint in with the mixture, so you give us some color, and then you can use that as your base. Since it's mixed in with that mixture, the acrylic paint is not coming off. Now for this project, I want to use something called FW inks. It's an acrylic ink. I've only used a little bit of this before. The last couple ones I've painted, I was just mixing colors with the special sauce. But I want to try the FW inks. Now, since this guy has the base coat with the orange and that special mixture, the acrylic and the ink, they will bind to the paint, but since it is water activated, that if you get it wet, the paint will run off. So to combat that, we're going to use a matte varnish, seal him all up once the painting is all done, so any water or spit or whatever gets onto the prop, it's not going to wash away. It's going to be sealed right into that prop. And then, of course, we got our gloss medium here to make him look all wet and gross and slimy, which is my favorite part. You don't have to use FW inks or any acrylic ink to paint. It's just something that I've been wanting to try out on these and just see how it goes. What I'll usually do is I'll use this and just mix in colors and water it down and run it through my airbrush. Issue with that is it can clog up the airbrush pretty quickly, and then you gotta be pretty much on top of it to clean it, and it can be a real pain in the butt. With this, the inks, not so much. And what we'll be doing is we'll be thinning it down with some water and 70% isopropyl alcohol. And with that isopropyl, it'll help dry that paint faster than if we were to use just water. Just putting some of that orange into a little cup here, and then we're going to take a paintbrush and we're just gonna paint the crap out of this. I based this in white prior because I was thinking of using that as a base coat, but I decided, you know what, I wanted to try something different and use a different color like orange for the base coat, and then we can build off that. So for the ink wash, we're just mixing FW ink black with some isopropyl alcohol, which will help make it dry faster. So we're gonna spray it all over everywhere, and then we'll take some isopropyl alcohol and a sponge and wipe it off. But we wanna make sure all that ink stays in like the nooks and crannies of the sculpt, so that detail will pop out a bit more. As you see, I am having some issues rubbing off the ink because I ran out of isopropyl alcohol and it was just beginning to smear everywhere and not really come off. So it ended up looking a little bit muddy, but that's okay. It kind of worked in our favor. Second color is yellow. I don't know if you've ever tried to paint with yellow, but it is difficult. So many layers, so many coats just to get that yellow to pop through. It may look bright now, but once it dries, it dims out a little bit. So you have to add layers. This is a really fun technique. All you need is a popsicle stick, and you hold it against your airbrush, and that paint will hit that popsicle stick and it'll splatter. That's really good for building up depth in detail. If you look at your skin, you can see like a bunch of different colors and speckles, stuff like that. So this is where that technique comes in handy. For the veins on the big bussy, I like to do the veins first before adding any color to it, because if we do all the painting first and then add the veins, then those veins are really gonna pop, and we don't want that, right? Because veins are under the surface of the skin. There's a lot of stuff on top. So by doing this, we do the veins first, and then we start to add the color on top, and that'll pop through those colors that's on top of it, and it'll be a nice subtlety to it instead of just like so bright it's right in your face. I didn't want to just have those big veins. I want to do like little smaller veins underneath as well. So I do a little bit of a modeling technique here. Honestly, it's just squiggling lines around, make it random. So it kind of looks like, just like a pattern or some veins. Here I'm doing some splatter technique as well with the red, but I'm doing it a little bit different. So instead of using the popsicle stick, what you do is you reduce your air pressure down by a lot. Instead of a steady stream of paint and air, that paint will just be kind of like splattering. Kind of like the popsicle stick. But with this technique, you have a lot more control. When you're using the popsicle stick, there's a tendency to where the ink will build up on the popsicle stick, and you'll get like mismatches of splatter. Big dots to medium to small. So it all depends on what you're going for and what you want to do. And since I just wanted a bit of red to pop through, I went with this technique over the popsicle stick. On the reference I'm using of this, I think it's a snail or a slug, some kind. It has a really cool like blue pattern on the bottom, kind of wraps around the whole thing, and I absolutely loved it. So I followed that pattern from the image and tried to blend that blue up into the yellow, which was a little bit difficult, but I think it turned out pretty well. For the pustules, I'm going very bright blue, but there's a reason for that, okay? Trust me, trust me. Once we get that blue on there, we're gonna hit it with some red, and that's gonna turn that blue around those pustules purple, so it'll look like they're kind of swollen, and they kind of blend better into that yellow color that we chose for this creature. To finish it off, we add a little bit of white, kind of like right in the middle there, to kind of give it that illusion that, oh, this thing is filled to the brim. It's purple. It's blue. It could spew in your face. So that's why we add the white. And then going back to that pattern on the snail, it also had some white with that blue, and I just thought it was really pretty, so I decided to add it here as well. And then a light spray of white paint just for like a little highlight on the top. Not too much. You don't want to wash out all that detail of the paint that you worked so hard on. So just a little bit, give it a nice little highlight. With a mixture of magenta and then some red, we spray the mouth because, well, I wanted this to look like something that I probably can't really say, but it's a little schmexual, a little schmexual. And a lot of my art kind of has schmexiness in it, if that makes sense. I was originally gonna go with just white eyes and some dark pupils or black, but I decided to base the eyes in white, but then I came back and I wanted to go with like a green, kind of go with that yellow skin tone. So we went with the green eyes, and then we used that low pressure, the little splatter, to create little white specks in the eyes, because these are creature eyes, right? You can have fun with creature eyes. They don't have to have pupils and look human or animal. You can have some fun with it, make it look interesting. So I wanted his eyes to almost kind of look like there's like little stars or something inside the eyeball. So with the varnish right here, I just ran it straight through my airbrush. You can airbrush it on, or you can get a paintbrush and brush it all over, totally up to you. But the most important thing is you want to cover the whole thing, all right? Do a couple coats, make sure that paint is nice and sealed. Once it's sealed, you don't have to worry about it. And to bring it all together, we use some high gloss medium, and then we paint it to where we think the wet areas would be. So the mouth, the boils, the blood sac on the back. And for the eyes, we used 5-minute epoxy so that they look really wet. And he's all done. He's all sealed up and he's all glossed up. He looks very wet, especially on his big butt here. It's holding all that blood. But I'm very happy with the colors and how he came out. You can really see how the veins are not poppy, but they're kind of showing through. And then that modeling that we did, you can see that it's kind of popping through as well. So it looks like there's even like more smaller veins underneath, which I really like. I'm also thinking of adding kind of like maybe like a hook onto the back here, so you can put him up on the wall so it looks like he's, like crawling, sliding down, because he's like a sluggish kind of creature, right? So it'd be like propped up on the wall like that, which is kind of cool. or maybe like this, but still playing around with it. This guy is all done for the Halloween season, so he will be up on my website. If you're interested in purchasing, he will be up there on the website for you guys. But I'm so happy to be finally done this guy. I've been putting off the painting for a while because I wasn't really sure what colors I wanted to go with, but I saw a really cool reference of like, I think it was like an underwater slug or snail. Very similar colors, and so that's what I used for my reference. But totally happy with how he turned out. I might slime him up. I might make some like yellow goo and kind of like splatter it around, maybe on the back or on here, or I might just leave him the way he is. I'm not too sure yet, but the most important thing is I found out the color scheme for this guy, so I'll have no issues painting more in the future. So I am quite excited about that. Now I just got to find a place for him on my shelf, or I might have to buy a new shelf or hang him on the wall. If you have any questions about the painting process, let me know in the comments and I'll try and help you as best I can. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to follow, hit that like button, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.